Good morning, everyone. This is Fran Lewis. You are on MJ Network. MJ in memory of my sister, Marsha Joyce, and Christopher S. Cooper Smith is here. And this is a special, special day. Today, we are going to honor the memory of Princess Lady Diana. And before I forget, it's also St. Patrick's Day. And my little friend over here, Patty O'Lady, the book teaches about kindness. It's really cool. Not only that, but if you look at the leprechaun, she sent me a real one.
Oh, nice.
So, so I have a real one. And Kimberly Frehan Bonponte made this book, and it's really cool. But let me put the other glasses on so I could see. And I have the book in front of me. And you've gotten quite a number of views on LinkedIn and everywhere else. So
Correct.
people are
Yes.
reading it. Yeah.
Yes. I'm very thankful for every reader I get.
How to Lead Like Princess Diana is a comprehensive look at this extraordinary woman's singular influence, combining the unique fairy tale story of all of her dreams and powerful lessons of management and a whole lot more. And I don't see how anyone couldn't have loved her. I even watched her wedding
Oh, yes.
to King Charles and stuff like that. How did, my first question is, the first scene helps readers understand what a person, oh, this is the wrong ones. What did you decide on Princess Diana? How did you come along with that one?
Because it was a very easy choice. It started because the other leaders that I wrote about were mostly guys, and they were people of the past. And Lady Diana is someone of the present, and she's made such an enormous impact with her love and her authentic leadership that it was really a no-brainer to write this book and the series.
Yeah, people don't realize what a wonderful person she was. They just look at her as being, the queen or whatever
Right.
she was. But she was a different kind of person, and she did a whole lot of things that are different. So you created that first scene, and you get to know her and leadership. And I read the introduction, but the chapter that says leading through serving. What did she do?
She led a lot by leading by serving is that she served people who were considered downcast in society. She touched AIDS patients. She went around with them. She generally just cared about others, and that led to her
Mm.
service.
She never complained about anything. What
No.
bothers me is that why didn't the queen? I'm looking for my questions on my phone. Why didn't the queen mother like her at first?
The relationship of her and the queen started because they were she was in a relationship with Charles, and it seemed like that she wasn't following a lot of the protocol that they were doing. And when you were following, they weren't following the protocol as much. It was different for her because she was not following what they were expecting someone of her title and stature to be doing.
Mm.
They expected her to act a certain way, and she couldn't be anyone but herself. And I think that's what people admire most about her.
It's so sad because how could you not love her? I mean, seriously.
The whole world loved her. It doesn't. I guess it doesn't really matter what she thought as much.
Well, she's extraordinary, and she did so many things. And the habits. I mean, you'll discover the habits of integrity, essential, motivating, ways to live with purpose. But she did things that no one else knew that she did. That's the
Right.
really one part. She did a whole lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah, she did a lot that a lot of people didn't even know about. Everything she did, she didn't do things for display. They just happened to be on display because she wanted to use her influence to really impact the world for a positive place.
It's amazing how she got along and how she didn't. But there were so many things that I can't find my question paper.
That's all right.
It's driving me crazy here. She is serving through listening. This chapter, first one, serving through self awareness, serving through sacrifice. And so, how did she develop her own leadership way? I mean, people just don't know.
I would say that she developed her own leadership way because she cared so much about others that most of what she did was just natural to her. I think she was a natural leader, and she was just a very strong leader. And when she led through like authenticity, where she was the backbone of just being herself, and she shared things like her thing with bulimia and her struggles with what was going on and with her marriage with King Charles
Mm.
and everything else. when she was dealing with that, she was just very honest about who she was and what was going on, and people really connected with it.
Now I have the questions right here. Haha. She was very authentic. But how did she meet Charles? And I know there was an arranged marriage. She had no
Eh,
choice.
Well, they met at a hunting match, right?
Yeah.
And she was on the list, and then from there she kind of developed a relationship with him. And she was someone who wasn't really in his circle as much, but then once it was qualified to be marriage material for Charles.
That's scary. I do know how that feels.
Yeah.
I do know how that feels because my grandfather wanted me to marry the rabbi's son, and the
Oh,
rabbi, yeah, the rabbi's son was happy, but his parents said, although my grandfather ran the temple, he probably owned it. I
okay.
felt I was not qualified to be his wife.
Oh, I'm
I felt,
sorry.
yeah, he was Orthodox, very, and I said, I don't, I think that you need to pick somebody that's right for him. So they did, and he said, I'm not marrying her; she's horrible. And we finally had to
What?
pick somebody. Yeah.
You're one
All
of the
the
most my
yeah,
interactions with you have been so lovely. You seem like such a nice lady.
yeah. She didn't quite fit.
Well, you have
So
what do you have, like 3 master's degrees, right? So I mean, what more do
so
you want?
tell it's scary. Tell us about the House of Windsor and how it's defined.
I
Then we get
define
to
the
the good
House of
part.
Windsor as being all the descendants that come from Queen Victoria.
So what are some of the frivolous things she was seen doing and why?
Well, some people are upset because she omitted from her wedding vows um, the word obey, probably because she felt that she wouldn't have to just be someone, just obey someone. She raced barefoot at school event and she took an interest in people. And to a lot of people, they found that to be frivolous, but I think that was what made her so remarkable.
Well, this chapter I love the best.
Which one?
Number 6, leadership through love. I must have read the book 5 times already.
Oh, thank
And
you.
yesterday I sat down and I said, I got to go all of this to love. But there's a whole bunch in here leadership to love, but all those terms, agap, eros, philios, all of them. How did you decide it? And leading and loving, that's hard because she was not exactly the most popular person, I
No.
gathered.
Well,
I figured that out.
I mean, she was popular. The people loved her. I don't know if she was that popular inside of her
Yeah, I loved
circle.
her.
Yeah, but I think that she was just the kind of love that expressed through physical contact and just being authentically who she was and just by loving others. It's a love that occurs between friends, and you could see that in her love and her passion for people.
It just bothers me that I mean, I watched her on television. I watched her when she got married. I watched her right before she got killed. And I still think that there's something odd about that. I don't know.
You mean the car accident?
Yeah, I think there's something odd about that, the car accident. I don't know. I don't
Yeah, I
know why
mean, I know
anybody
the
in their right
paparazzi
mind
were
would want to hurt her.
right. I hope not. I mean, it was pretty much closed that it was from
Yeah, they
running from
don't
the
know.
paparazzi and everything, and she was being hounded by the media.
They have no idea. So she did some. What are some of the benefits of being authentic? And how was her relationship with the Queen Mother at first?
Okay, so I would say some of the take the first part of that question is that authenticity is like the backbone of authentic leadership.
Yeah.
Being transparent is how you connect with people. You don't want if you work at a company and something's going on in the company and they tell people, people are much more motivated. If they try to keep it a
Hmm.
secret, it usually explodes and becomes rumors. She was someone who was very authentic about what she was doing. Um, so I mean, the relationship between to the queen at first is that how do I say is that she was more like faced with romantic and tabloid troubles. Like the tabloids said a lot of things about her. She felt misunderstood when the queen indicated that her bulimia was the cause of their marital problems, but it was probably more of a symptom than really the problem.
Could the Queen have stopped him from marrying her? If she decided that she didn't feel that she was worthy? I mean, she went through a lot.
I mean, I think she really loved Charles, so that probably was a big influence in it. She could have, I think she could have said no if she wanted to.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they could. I'm pretty sure they still can. So tell us about Queen. My grandfather went to England and he actually met her.
Oh, really? Tell us that
My
story.
my cousin Leon Fowler was a knight in Parliament,
Okay.
and he came to America a lot. He was related to my grandmother and my grandfather somehow. They were, and they were very powerful. He was a very powerful man. So when my grandfather came to England with my aunt, he introduced him to the Queen and the princes. I don't know if he met Harry, but I know he met Charles.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I like when they came back. I said, "I'm so jealous. I wish I would have gone with you, because that would have been oh." He
That's a
said,
life changing experience.
yeah, the Queen, the oh God. Well, I do interviews with Peter James, who's friends with Queen Camilla.
Oh, okay.
Hmm. And she loves him, and he loves me because I read his books, and she loves the fact that I read them.
That's good. Wow. I'm impressed with that.
She's unique. So when she interviewed her, what was the focus? What did they want to find out? What kind of questions would they ask her if she wanted to interview her to marry him?
I
That's
think
scary.
they went over her expectations for marriage, the feeling of um like how she would feel after the birth of like Prince William and her struggles with
Mm.
postnatal depression. She also became very open about her affair with her husband's affair with Camilla and how much that really impacted them. She one time quoted that there was three of us in our marriage, so it was a bit crowded.
Well, Camilla came into this right away. I mean, how did she manage to just infiltrate herself
Well, they
with
met
with
at
Charles?
some type of sporting match, if memory
Yeah.
serves correctly. And when they were at the sporting match, they just developed. They met at the sporting match, and they just developed a love for the game, and they just connected. And really, Charles should have known better than to be interested in another woman when you're married. But he expressed interest, and I guess they kind of fell for each other.
How did Prince Harry and Prince Charles feel about it?
Actually, I'm not too sure about how they felt about the affair. I'd have to look that up. There's not someone too aware of how they felt about it at the time.
But she was, I read this book and I was like, there's so many things that people don't know about her,
Yeah.
and she helped other people.
Yeah, she helped a lot of people.
She helped a lot of people. Why did she decide to do that? I mean, they criticized her for doing it, but how could you not? She was like a Johnny. Everywhere she went, she helped somebody.
I think she was just naturally had a love for people. I
Yeah.
think that she just had a love that she wanted to be a big believer in just sending thank you notes to people like she always did. She always sent thank you notes to people. Um, she was just someone who was honest and authentic. I mean, what people don't realize about her is that, the classic, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, the film, she was a big fan of that show. She actually liked it a lot. And that
I
shows
was.
how authentic she was because you wouldn't think that she would like something like that, but she was because that's just who she was.
I mean, it's amazing because I don't think people really until I read this one, and I'm not giving this one away. I usually give them away when I'm done, but it's like yeah, and there's so many people that gave you opinions as I'm reading it. So how did she lead through honesty, vulnerability, clarity? Those are three chapters that I read a couple of times.
I
How
think
did she
honestly
do
it was
that?
this as we talked about how she was open about what was going
Yeah.
on in her marriage, about what was going on in the house and how she felt. She was just someone who was honest. And I always say a liar has to have a good memory. She didn't have to have a good memory because she was just honest about what was happening.
She's unbelievable. I mean, but and you realize you could tell just by listening to her, she was, in a sense, she was very vulnerable to what other people said also,
Right.
and that's even more scary. But you
Correct.
has a whole bunch of people in here, and then the next chapter after that one is I have them all in front of me. Leadership through love. That's odd.
Yeah,
How
you
does
don't
she
see that very much
lead
today.
people to realize that she really loved everything and all those eight things that you have there?
Yeah, agape love, Ferris love,
Yeah,
all
all
those
of
loves.
that.
Yeah, all those loves that are there. It's really just how good leaders love. I mean, look at like Mother Teresa, for example. She's another person. I haven't done as much research on her, but you look at what she's done and you look at who she is too. It's the same thing is that they were remarkable people because they led through love. A lot of times we have leaders who don't seem to care about what's going on in our lives, what's going on with us,
Hmm.
how we feel. that they cared so much about other people. And I think that love is really what gave them their unique flair and made them remarkable as opposed to just leaders.
But how did she feel when she realized that he wanted a divorce? That must have been hard.
That was hard for
I
her.
don't think that the queen would allow that, but obviously she did. She
Right.
didn't care.
I get. I think that the queen might not have as much authority as they had in the past, right? At one point, if you divorced the king, it might have meant death, but I don't think today that that's the case. But when she, to answer your question, I think she was devastated, but she might have also somewhat secretly felt relieved because everything going on, and it probably authenticated her to be more honest and being able to be more open than what she was in the past.
I read Harry's book.
Okay.
I didn't ask to read. They gave it to me. They sent it as a review.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, you'd be surprised. And I read it, and I started to read through it, and to be very honest, I stopped reading it.
Why? Now I
I
know
there
not
was
to read it, but why?
I thought it was interesting. I didn't buy everything he said,
Gotcha.
and I'm pretty good at get. And not most people say that when I read a book, I'm pretty much the only person that usually gets it. I got it, but I read it. I did. I read half of it, then I read more, and then I said, if I write something, it's not going to. I never write anything negative. And when I saw myself listening, well, I'm not sure this is right, this is right, or this is right, and then listening to him speak on television about it, I said, I'm better off not writing anything.
Right.
I think that was the first and only time I said to the publisher, I can't do this.
Wow, that's a pretty big thing to say. I know to avoid that book now.
I just said there's some, it's an excellent book. It was very well written, but some of the points, after watching Diana and watching the
Right.
family on television, I said, I don't know. And I don't know if he's even straightened out with them. He straightened out with Charles, I know that,
Right.
with $40 million, but that's beside the point. So how did she deal? That must have been hard. And how did it affect William and Harry? And seriously, I mean, how did she get it? That must have affected her the way she was acting. Did she move out of she had to move out, didn't she?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the last question. Well,
How did she have to move out of the palace after they
yeah,
got divorced?
afterwards she
That
moved
must have
out.
been hard.
Yeah, it must have been hard, especially since their kids won't probably be around their dad. They have to work out custody, all those things. But I also think it made her more of who she was because I think that once she moved out, she was able to authentically be herself. And when you're around people who don't 100% support you, but then you move around, and you're around people who do, it makes a big difference in your life. And she probably ended up being a lot better when things changed.
I think she was a wonderful mother.
Yeah. Oh,
I
she was
think
a
she adored her
remarkable mother.
children. You could see it in her eyes.
Yeah, she
And
did.
now, for some reason, Google seems to be focusing on her a lot.
Probably because
I don't know
she's
why.
she's become famous again, kind of recently because of
Yeah.
the Diana Chronicles and other things. And I think people are just, she'll always be a part of history, and Google is capitalizing on that.
I don't listen to a lot of what they say. I,
Well, don't
I
forget,
listen. I listen to what I think, and of course, it's right there on Facebook.
right?
And I'm going to put it. I'm finding that when I post I download the video if I don't mess it up, and then I put it on LinkedIn,
Yes.
and I put it not so much. I get an email from Restream that says you're live on YouTube. You can post it anywhere you want. Then I can send it to you. You can share it whatever you want. But LinkedIn, you'll probably get 200 views in 5 minutes.
Oh, thank you. I'd appreciate
Yeah,
that.
which is really scary.
Yeah,
I
LinkedIn tends to
know.
be
I
very good
had
for like books like
There
this.
was
You're right.
one author that got like 1,000 views. They go like, huh? And the book sold.
Thank you
Well,
so much.
it beats the fact that I can't. Somebody hacked into my Amazon account, so I
I'm
can't
sorry.
post on. Yeah, I don't know who did. They wrote something. I never wrote anything negative, and they whatever. So I
Mm.
said, the heck with you.
You
I
could write a
posted
thing
every.
to Amazon, and did you change your password?
Yeah, and I called them and everything.
Hmm.
And they said, "Oh,
That's
you wrote
interesting.
this." I said, "I don't know what you're talking about. That's not my review. I would never write that. I didn't even read the book."
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so tell us about leadership through parenting. How did it start from start to finish?
I would say that the issue of parenting, like for her, is that she focused a lot on charitable works and maintaining a strong presence in the public eye, but then using the media to portray her family favorable. She was very good at that, and she wanted Prince Harry and Princess, as they become caught in the middle and with custody arrangements, to know that they were loved. And it seems like that's was her goal. As someone, because I'm a father, a new father, I have a 1 year 3 month old. She's 1 year and 3 months. And I could tell you that it's challenging because you need to balance discipline and guiding them. But I think that was the focus of her leadership, was to take the moral path. And that's what made her so authentic as a parent.
Every time you saw her on television, no matter when you saw her, I think you just wanted to meet her.
Yes, that you looked at her and you're like, I want to be
Yeah.
her friend.
Did she ever come? I don't know. Did they ever come here to America? I don't
Yes.
know. She did a
Yeah.
couple of times, yeah.
I'm sorry.
She must have, because like I said, my grandfather's Leon, when he came to America, they met at a hotel, whatever.
Okay.
It was amazing. It was amazing, and I got invited down with a chauffeur limousine to meet some of the people that he met from England. Also, it was like so cool because my whole
Wow.
family's there.
Yes.
My grandfather's family's there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're one's a doctor, one's a dentist, one's a medical assistant, whatever. They're all, it's sad because I'll never see them, but sometimes I could Facebook them and
Gotcha.
actually talk to them. Yeah,
Seem very educated, a very educated family.
it's amazing, and I've never been there. So, what happened when she died? How come Tony Blair came? Tell us about that eulogy that
Yeah,
made me cry.
the eulogy for Princess Diana was
Yeah.
amazing. It was a powerful, and it was like a candid tribute to that resonated worldwide. She was praised for her compassion, her warmth, and devotion to her sons. And while criticizing the media relentless pursuit of her, um, which was kind of like blamed for everything. The funeral itself was marked by just the movement moments of the Candle in the Wind by Elton John, and the sight of her sons walking behind the coffin, and it just left a profound impact on millions.
So tell us about also the conclusion. I have a few more questions in the middle about the Earl of Spencer and the eulogy by saying, what did he feel about her?
He felt that. Sorry, I have a bit of a cough that I'm trying to get over.
You know,
Yeah, it was more. I think what he felt was more of just a candid tribute, that he really praised her compassion and warmth, and how she was as a person, and he really emphasized that in the eulogy, and he wanted to make sure that it came across of the remarkable human being that she was.
how did she come across the UK and around the world? Everybody loved her.
Yes.
I mean, yet there were people I'm sure that didn't love her. But to me, I think it would be more like jealousy because they wanted to be like her.
Right.
She's so amazing. She was so amazing, and you just had to. I mean, the minute she came on the screen, your whole face lit up. You
Yes.
knew.
Yeah, the second you saw her, you just loved her very much. It was something that just came on very much, and it was something that everyone loved. Once she came on, you were smiling, you were happy. It was like having a really good manager that you want to see every day.
I don't think even when she was going through the divorce herself, I don't think she ever didn't smile.
No, she never didn't smile. You always saw her authentic and her compassion and her love for people. And it's something that always just kind of just elevated throughout the room.
She's totally different from the new queen, that's for sure.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, she was definitely a different type of leadership than I think anyone could see. Could you hold on a second? My wife's alarm's going off. I'm going to turn it off. Give me 1 second.
Okay, sure, no problem. Okay, so for those of you that haven't read How to Be Like Diana, you're missing something very great because she was quiet, soft spoken, moving to others' action, and by exploring the intimate gifts that she was a remarkable person. I said, so if you haven't read this, you're missing out on something really good.
Thank you.
And I posted your review everywhere,
Thank you.
but all I know is that Lincoln loves me.
Good.
Oh, every single week they tell me my statistics at the end of the week. And they said, well, this week you had 275 views. Last week you had 500. And go, okay. And then they tell me which link that I post.
Right.
And it could be a stream from the first, this is the, you are number 10,
Wow.
where the 10th one, I'm just getting used to it because Blog Talk Radio is no longer there anymore. They blindsided everybody at the end of January. And I had to find, and I think that this is the greatest way to do this.
Yeah, I mean, LinkedIn is a very powerful tool, and especially for nonfiction books, it's definitely everywhere, and it's
I
showing.
try to I try to hide my face though. So sad.
Everyone wants to see your face. You're smart,
I
intelligent.
know it's like really weird. I get so conscious. What can I tell you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I had my wife's alarm go off, and now I have a baby screaming, but I think we're fine. That's the life of being a parent.
Well, it's good to see the person I'm talking to anyway.
Yes,
I don't know
thank
if
you.
they want to see me, but whatever. So
Yeah.
before I forget, next week we're going to do the story about the Lewis Chessman chess set with Ivory Bones on the
Wow.
31st. He's my pal and I love him. He's on Facebook all the time. He's the number one interior decorator and designer, Howard Wiggins. He's great. On the second we have the author of another book. The seventh we have Steve Manchester. Will You Will Be Peter with his second author. So I'm booked until the end of May. I just booked another one for June.
Oh, wow, you're a busy lady.
Yeah, I can't believe it. And and it's like amazing. I got a text this morning. Can you do this one? Can you do that one? And go like, give me a break. I was going to take a break and not do June, but now when a New York Times author asked for an interview with another New York Times author,
No worries.
this is great. So how did you decide on this series? And then you have other series. I read the
Yes.
Abraham Lincoln book. I have
Yes.
that somewhere. But how did you decide on who to focus on?
So I did Abraham Lincoln first because he was my favorite of all time. He was someone who I always admired growing up. He really led the nation in a turbulent time in history. That's why I went with him first. How I decided on the series is when I first became a leader,
Yeah.
when I was younger, I started managing, and I realized I didn't have any examples of leadership, but I had a lot of like people gave me books on leadership, but nothing was like an example of a person. And what I thought is that people really need to see a live person living it out. And now, when you take history's leaders like this and you show
Uh-huh.
your leadership, you show remarkable leadership. And that's really where that came from, was just showing their traits, because I love history and I love leadership, and it kind of combined the two.
Well, you have to understand I love Abraham Lincoln.
Good.
I absolutely love Abraham Lincoln. He went through a lot, but how could you not love what Lincoln did? And some of the people don't believe what he did.
Yeah.
And they disagree with what he did, but how could you not love? And Harriet Tubman is my favorite.
yeah, she's the one I'm starting to do research on now. She's going to be the next one in the series. I'm doing starting to put that one together.
Well, whenever you have one, just send it because I love stuff like that.
Gotcha.
It reads the murder mysteries and all the love stories and all of them. So that how could you not be drawn to something that's history?
Right.
And what type of research did you do for this one? Because it had to be extensive.
It was extensive. The good news is, though, is that there's a lot of information already, so you don't have to go looking like too much, like in like books or other things. You get to go more on like Google. You could go to news articles and other things, and a lot of it is just using examples of real life and leadership, as you saw from the book, and a lot of it is just compiling it together into one. And once you get all your like how I write the book is I look at what her leadership qualities were, and I make a draft. And then what I do is I find information that kind of backs up her draft of what I think her leadership is. And then more comes to mind. And sometimes they change, but I kind of go with the draft. Okay, here's the 5 things I think. Now, what can go from there? And then I go from there.
All I can tell you is that when somebody does research, I do research, so I know you're authentic.
Yes.
I'm bad. I'm terrible. Yeah. I've read a couple of books where the author said they did research, and I go, but your research is wrong because this doesn't make sense. Yeah,
I'm going to tell you an interesting
yeah.
story about that research real quick, is that
Uh,
when I wrote my first book, I sent it to an editor. She sent it back to me, and she said to me, so it was rejected by 2 editors, and the third one sent back to me, and she said, I can't work on this. And I said, why? And she goes, all your facts are wrong.
Uh-huh.
And I go, whoa, what do you mean? I was like, I use things. She goes, no, this is how. And she taught me how to look up research the correct way.
Uh-huh.
So I had to go back and rewrite it. And then when I rewrote it, then all the facts were correct. I made sure that it was right the second time. And that's where I learned how to check and how to double fact check and all that stuff. um,
I've told a couple of publicists that they had, I don't go for grammar mistakes, I don't care about that. But I
right.
told one or two publicists, this is wrong. This is you're gonna get hung by it. And they didn't listen to me, and they did get hung by it because
Wow.
people that are authorities in that particular area are gonna want to know, why did you write that, or it's not true. I think the worst thing that ever happened to me was I was writing my book, Sharp as a Tack or Scrambled Eggs, How Would You Describe Your Brain?
Right.
Because it was just about using your brain. Some author said he was going to sue me because he said I stole his title. I said I didn't steal
I know.
your title, and you didn't write a book. It's the name of his company. And he went through this whole thing, and I said, if it makes you that up, I changed one word.
Did that make him happy?
I didn't care. I think yeah, because I said sharp as a tack of scrambled eggs. How would it describe you? Whatever I said, he shut it. He kept quiet. He said, I'm going to call your publishing company. I said, you can call anybody. I can call the Pope too, for all I care. I said, doesn't matter. I did all and I made up the title. It came from nowhere. And people read it because of the title. So, you never know. So, what's next for you?
Harriet Tubman. That'll be the next one in the series.
And
Yeah.
when is that supposed to come out?
I don't have a date yet. I mean, probably closer to the end of this year, maybe. It depends on how much time I get to write and put effort into it, but we're definitely shooting for that for sure.
So, who published this one?
I published it myself. I'm a self-published
How
writer.
did you do that? Because I'm writing another one. I haven't decided yet. I write horror.
And her, well,
Oh, yeah.
I would say that the best way to go about it is to research, what genres to put, where to put it. Putting a book on Amazon is really easy. I mean, I have a formatter who formats my books, and what I do is I just upload them to Amazon. Of course, this is after editing, after
Yeah.
proofreading. That's really it. I mean, it's really not that difficult. They just put in a PDF and an e-file for you, and then you just hit the upload button.
Yeah, the St. Patrick's Day book she published by herself too, and the
Right.
pictures and everything by herself.
Yeah.
I used the first publishing company that I used my first three books, plus the Sharpest Attack, Disaster.
Oh
They
wow.
didn't even edit it right. They didn't do it
Yeah.
right, and I paid
That,
for editing. The
that's
second
the
one was fine, and they're not there anymore. But they're going to edit my next one because they're really good. But the third one was independent publishing. What a mistake!
oh wow.
$3,600. And
What?
they did not help me to make the book more than 76 pages. I won't say who it was. And I said I would never use you again. They said, well, if you want it more, help us to market it, we'll charge you another 5,000.
Oh, forget that's
Yeah, I said
ridiculous.
crazy. No, I used Robin Service at Fidelity. She's really good, and
Okay.
she's not $1 million. But this one I have to see because my last book is called Voices from Beyond. The
Okay.
one mirror image was the one before it. If you do something wrong and you don't repent, the mirror on the wall, wherever you are, is going to look at you and say, if you don't do what I say and repent, you become a face in the mirror forever. And
Wow.
some of the stories are true. I got
Uh,
even with people. Yeah, and it's scary, but people like it. It's just that Mirror Image did okay, but this publisher got me no reviews.
yeah, that's then they didn't do their job.
Yeah.
That's a problem with like these vanity publishers that you pay money to. Um, I like to be self-published. I like to be in control of my work. I'm not selling as much as I like to yet.
Yeah.
But the truth is, I like to be in control because you don't know if these publishers are going to market it because they like to market people who are really famous because it's an easier marketing.
Yeah,
So
well, you're lucky you could do this because I wouldn't even know where to begin.
it's yeah, I mean it's really just you would go to if you ever go to like there's a site called Kindlepreneur and it gives you everything you need on how to self-publish. You could type in like Kindlepreneur recommended editors and you'll find a list of editors. I actually know a good horror editor I could recommend and stuff.
Well,
Um,
the editor that did my mother's book, A Daughter's Promise, is about my mom and Alzheimer's. The
okay.
editor that did that and published it was Edit Pros. They're going to do my editing for my next book. I just wish they could publish it, but they're going to put me in touch with somebody
Okay.
because that was the first time and nobody complained about anything.
Wow. That's good. That means
So
you're getting
where
good.
can everybody find out about you and your work?
I'm on Amazon. You can look at my name, Christopher Coopersmith, or the Magic of the Influencer, and you'll see my work. It's right there. I also have a website. It's myname.com, ChristopherCoopersmith.com. Those are probably the best way. I'm also on Facebook. I have a Facebook page that they can connect with as well.
Well, before I end, is there anything specific that you want me to read besides Harriet Tubman?
Anything Pacific? I think you've read the other ones, so you know what? I think that'll just be the next one. I'll send it to you when it comes out.
Okay, when you get it, I appreciate it. But thank
Anytime.
you so much. I hope you feel better.
Thank you. Anytime. Thank you so much for having me. It was a real pleasure, and I really enjoyed being interviewed by you.
I'm glad this has been fun and it brightens up my day. You have no idea. To
That's good.
everybody, it's we have storms outside, but it's beautiful inside, and this has been fun. And if you did not get a copy of this, I don't know what's wrong with you, but I'm gonna repost the review right now. Make sure it gets out, and I will send you the link for the show as soon as I